my name is Helene and I am here today to give you a very exciting video, and that is my favorite books of 2014. So that means the books that I read in 2014 that made it to my favorites list. I wasn't planning on finding 14 books just because it's 2014, but I found my favorites and it turns out that there are actually 14 of them, so that's funny. But without further ado, let's just get started. And I'm going to start with the books that are normally up here because this hole annoys me. In no particular order, the first book I want to show you is a series, and that is the Harry Potter series by J.K. Rowling. I reread this entire series in 2014 and I loved every second of it. This is phenomenal. If you don't know that already, if you haven't read it, I highly recommend that you do so. Even though you may be an adult, just read it because it appeals to both children as well as adults, and that's what I love about it. It's quite heavy, but I have to show you these beautiful designs of my box set. I really love it, and Hogwarts in the end. That looks better. Next book is a very recent read, and that is The Snow Child by Ewan Ivey. This book was phenomenal. I really loved it. Everything about this book was to my taste. The writing style, the story, the characters, the way it made me feel, and the way it ended. This was phenomenal. As I said, it deals with a couple who is in their 50s. They live in Alaska in the snow, and the woman is very depressed because she has no children. She only has herself and her husband. One day it starts snowing and the two of them decide to build a snowman together just to have a little bit of fun, and that snowman turns into a living child. This book does contain some magical realism, but that's what makes it so interesting, I think, and it is definitely on my favorites list. The next book is a fantasy book, and I'm not much into fantasy, but this one definitely made it to my list, and that is The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. I think what appeals to me about this book is the fact that it doesn't really come across as fantasy to me. In my eyes, this is a book about a man called Kvothe who tells his life story, and I love those kinds of books. It does contain fantasy elements, it does, but to me it wasn't too much, and I just really enjoyed this book. This is the first part of a trilogy. The second one is called The Wise Man's Fear. I have it behind me on my shelves, and I'm going to pick up that book in 2015 because this was really good. Next we have And the Mountains Echoed by Khaled Hosseini. If you have read anything by Khaled Hosseini, you will know that he writes extraordinary stories that appeal to your heart, and this one is no exception. This one deals with a family who lives in Afghanistan, and we basically have a main character and his sister who are the main part of the story, but it is about so much more as well, and I really enjoyed this book. I didn't just enjoy it, I loved it. I devoured it when I read it, and yeah, I don't know what else to say, just this was beautiful. Then we have The Bronze Horseman by Paulina Simons. I couldn't make a favorites list without this book. I read this early in the year, that means in April, I think March maybe, and I fell in love with it. This one takes place in Russia during Second World War. It is a love story between Tatiana and Alexander. They are so in love with each other, and I just have no words. This book made me feel. That is one of my favorite things about books. If they make me feel something in my heart just from reading some pages, then I love it. I do have to mention that it's not just about their relationship. It's about so much more. It's about the war, Tatiana's family, their crisis, everything. This book is phenomenal, and I highly recommend it. In 2014, I also started reading classics again, and I have two classics on my favorites list. The first one being The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. This was a reread for me, and I fell in love with it all over again. This is a scary story written many years ago, but it's still scary. It has a uniqueness to it. It deals with how you can change as a person from being very aware of how you look. And I just really enjoyed this book. It's not too long, so I would actually recommend that you start reading this book. If you want to get into classics, then this is the book for you. It's not too long, it's extraordinary, and it's just really good. The next classic is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. This remains one of my favorite classics of all time, and that's because it deals with the main character who is so adorable and so lovable, but she is not the most beautiful woman in town. And I really love that, because you shouldn't just read books about beautiful people, beautiful princesses who get everything they want and then everything is fine. That's not the book for me. This is the book for me because it deals with a woman who struggles. We follow her from she is a child until she is in her late 20s. This is a journey, and it is the most beautiful journey. I love it. I really love it. Next I have a young adult book, and that is Crash and Burn by Michael Hassan. I read this during the summer and I was blown away. This book reminded me so much of another favorite of mine, and that is The Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger, just because it is written kind of in the same way and with the same kind of pessimistic main character. This is about a school shooting that takes place in America, but we follow the best friend to this shooter as he writes a book about the school shooting and the events prior to the school shooting. One of the things that I loved the most about this book was the main character. He is, as I said, very pessimistic. He hates everything and everyone. He doesn't understand why he has to write about this event, but at the same time he wants to earn the money. Nevertheless, the story is so interesting and it's very serious. It turns into a very captivating story. The ending is really good. I really enjoyed it, and that's why it's on my favorites list. The next book on my list is Maybe Someday by Colleen Hoover, which I also read during the summer of 2014, and it broke my heart. Simply, it broke my heart. When I think about it today, I still feel very sad and happy at the same time, but this book did something to my emotions. It deals with a main character who is called Sydney, who is in her 20s, and she meets this boy. That sounds very pathetic because that sounds like every other love story, but this is so much more. I can't really reveal too much because I didn't know anything going into this book, and that's what surprised the crap out of me when I read it. So this book comes with surprises, it comes with heartbreaks, and I really recommend it. Then I have Room by Emma Donoghue. This one was also part of my December wrap-up, which means I read it very recently and it went straight to my favorites list. This book surprised me. I love when books do that to me. It surprised me because it kept me guessing, and I kept guessing wrong, and I wanted to know what was happening, but at the same time I wanted for the things to last. I wanted for this speculation to last, and I wanted to keep on reflecting. It deals with a boy who grows up in a room with his mother, and that's all I'm going to say. It was shortlisted for the Man Booker Prize. I definitely understand that, and it's just phenomenal. The next two books are by the same author, and which one should I start with? I don't know. Okay, let me start with the biggest one, and that is The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt. This was, I keep saying the same things. This was phenomenal. This is a coming-of-age story about a boy who loses his mother in the beginning of the book. He lives in New York, and after his mother's death, he is left alone. He is then being taken in by a rich family in Upper East Side of New York, and the story evolves from there. The thing that I loved about this book is both the storyline but also the way it was written. You can feel in the pages and in the lines that Donna Tartt spent 10 years reflecting on the lines, reflecting on the way to write this, and writing this story. Even though it was a long read, it didn't take me more than a week to read it just because I couldn't put it down. Then we have The Secret History, also by Donna Tartt. This one is very different from The Goldfinch. It's a different storyline, it has a different mood to it, but I still loved it. This is about 5 friends who go to college and they follow the same course, the same Greek mythology course. And things happen, things go down. I'm not going to say much else. It is a very dark story and that's what appeals to me. As I said, it's very different from The Goldfinch, but I admire Donna Tartt because she is so diverse in her writing, and also because you can feel that she spends a lot of time on her books and they turn out brilliantly. I have 2 more books to go. The next one is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern, which comes with black pages. I read this one in the beginning of 2014 and it was magical. This is about a circus that only plays during night, and I actually did a full video review about this book, so I will put that one down below. But all I have to say is it is magical, it has a love story in it, it is phenomenal, it makes you want to go to the circus right away, and I really enjoyed it. And the very last book is I Capture the Castle by Dodie Smith. This is a children's book, or maybe it's more like young adult, but it was written in 1949 and it is still a hit today because it's so good. This one deals with Cassandra, who lives in a castle with her family. Cassandra is 17 years old when we meet her, but we follow her and her family in the course of half of a year. Their lives turn out quite interesting. Some things happen to them and we get to read about them through Cassandra's diary. So that's interesting. I really enjoyed it and I think everyone should read this book at least once in their lifetime. I think that was 14 books, so that's going to be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I really hope that I inspired you to pick up some of these books because in my opinion they are phenomenal, all 14 of them. So please let me know if you do that in the comments. Happy reading everyone, and bye bye!